We are back with New York Times Magazine legal writer Emily Bazelon and Elie Mystal, the justice correspondent for The Nation. His book, which is on the bestseller list, is Allow Me to Retort, A Black Guy's Guide to the Constitution, quote, end quote. And astute observers will notice what appears to be, Elie, a hairpick.
I mean, I have it right here if we want to go that way, but like...
You're welcome. It's up to you.
All right, no, out of respect for Emily, I'm gonna keep it in today.
Well, it's in there. Well, it's in there for a second, which can be your image, meme, or NFT for the book if you ever get to that point. But we congratulate you on making the bestseller list. Two writers here know how hard that is, so shout out to that. Let me start with Emily. I just walked through. Emily, I just walked through the developments, and it's a tale of two responses to the committee. The majority of people, including Jared Kushner, cooperating. And then these clashes over the few who don't. What do you see that impacting the final evidence report conclusions that come out of this? Because while we in the press are following the steps, ultimately, they're trying to put together an entire story.
What's curious to me is the decision not to appear before the committee at all. You know, it's pretty routine for advisors to a president to say, I'm not going to answer certain questions. I'm not going to negotiate over what kinds of materials I'm going to turn over. But when you just completely stiff the committee, you invite a contempt citation, which is what's happening here. And then you're basically daring Congress to go to the Justice Department and ask for help to really be able to enforce a contempt citation. Congress has that power to enforce on its own, but has not chosen to use it for these many decades. So, you know, it all depends how it plays out in terms of what the committee actually learns. I think witnesses in these cases often hope they can stall. And unfortunately, that sometimes works. And then the committee has to finish its work without being able to speak with them and learn what they know.
Yeah, and that's fair. We just heard from Congressman Adam Schiff, Elie, about this process and those who are ducking. Here's what he said.
Both of them simply failed to appear, and that makes it very easy for the Justice Department. There's no right, no privilege that simply allows you to say, I'm not even going to bother to show up to claim privilege. It didn't fly with us, and it won't fly with the Justice Department either.
Elie, when he says it won't fly with DOJ, he's going as far as a member of the committee, I think, can responsibly go. He's previewing what he believes is a potential indictment, which is different than Mark Meadows, and I've explained that is a bit of a different fact pattern. Do you agree with Schiff? Are you that bullish? What do you think Garland should do?
I mean, look, the January 6th committee wants it to be one way, but it's the other way. And that other way is the Merrick Garland way. The Merrick Garland way isn't to do what is necessary to bring these people to justice. We've gone through the Meadows situation. That's a travesty. Why are Schiavino and Navarro not showing up for this committee? Because what's going to happen to them? In a couple of months, maybe Merrick Garland will actually indict them for contempt. And then what? We go to trial. Steve Bannon's been indicted for contempt since November. Where's his trial? Has that happened yet? No. Is it going to happen before the election? Maybe. Is that going to mean that he's actually going to ever have to talk to the committee? Maybe not. It still hasn't happened for Steve Bannon. That was the earliest one. And now we're talking here in March, almost April, and it's just about to happen to Navarro and Schiavino. Jared Kushner is going to get up there tomorrow and maybe talk. We don't know exactly what he's going to say. He might take the fifth. He might, as Emily said, just refuse to answer certain questions. They're thinking of seeking maybe one day Jenny Thomas to come in and sit in front of the committee. When she says no, that'll start. Then they'll think about subpoenaing her. She'll say no to that. Then they'll think about holding her in contempt. Then that'll take some more time. Then they'll go over to Garland. Is Garland going to indict the wife of a Supreme Court justice? You see what I'm saying, Ari? Like, it just, like, the end game requires at some point Merrick Garland to stand up, and it hasn't happened yet.
That's 4 questions you've asked and answered.
Sorry. Very
so now, to be fair, now Emily gets up to 4 if she wants to use that. And then I have less time for questions, but it's fine. And she may or may not. That's her call. You're speaking to what you view as an avoidable set of delays, because I'm going to push back on you a little and say the Bannon contempt vote came relatively quickly, and the indictment came relatively quickly. The trial schedule is not something that Merrick Garland has a universal magic wand to control. There might be mootness and ripeness issues, if you want to get boring, about what happens if the committee is dissolved, or does that obligation still rest because Congress exists, even if the Congress that held him in contempt is gone. But leaving that to the side, you seem to be holding all of it at Merrick Garland's feet. Isn't there a substantive difference between Bannon, where there's a schedule, and these other things where he hasn't really announced? And by the way, just for viewers, let's be clear. Defying a subpoena like this with no real argument and no written privilege claim from the president means that it's not a heavy investigation. I mean, I think you can close that out quickly, which is different from the Meadows case, to be fair.
I'll just very quickly, because I agree with what Emily has been saying about the Congress's need to also potentially use its inherent contempt power. But remember, all this is bouncing through Garland from the committee because Garland won't use the biggest tool in his shed, which is the FBI. These people are not denying FBI subpoenas, because if you deny an FBI subpoena, you sit in jail while they sort it out. But Merrick Garland has not sicked the FBI on Bannon, on Meadows, on Schiavino, on Navarro, on Flynn, right? So that's the biggest.
Yeah,
that's the biggest
fair. Let me go to
bag, and he ain't using it.
That's fair, and it goes to whether they view the January 6th case as a trespassing case with a couple of Proud Boys, or whether they view it as a coordinated plan to be investigated, not to be prejudged, that may have reached political elites in the Republican Party or the White House. Emily.
Well, I was just thinking about the difference between the two branches. So Congress does have the power to enforce a contempt citation on its own, but it hasn't in such a long time. And so that it has sort of taken that power away from itself. And that means that it can kind of issue these contempt citations for free. It doesn't have to really worry about being held accountable. Whereas I think that Merrick Garland, as the Attorney General, he can't just do this for show. He would have to really enforce. And I mean, I think Ellie is making the argument for why he should, but it also will be a dramatic move to go after former presidential advisors in this way. And he doesn't, so far, we haven't seen him have the kind of temperament and appetite for that. He seems like a more cautious Attorney General who wants to seem more moderate. And so I think that's part of why we're not seeing that, though I understand Ellie's point of view.
Fairly put, and I would note, without any rhetorical questions, so I think folks who've watched the show for a long time understand, Ellie's down to 0. Emily gets 4. Those carry over to the next hit, so she has up to 8 next time. And for Twitter, I'm joking. Emily and Ellie, good to see you both.